Welcome back, listeners, and Happy New Year to 2024. We welcome you to Mosaic's Community Life Podcast, Life in Canada, Episode 16. Thank you for taking the time to listen to our podcast today. My name is Jane Teasdale, and I'm one of the co-owners of Mosaic Home Care and Community Resource Center. Our organization focuses on person-centered care, social connection, and community. I would like to welcome Tanya Pikula, who is the Director of Communications at one of my favorite organizations, Circle of Care. She works for this wonderful not-for-profit agency who provides supports, programs, home care, support groups, and a plethora of wonderful social programs available for you and the community. So how are you today, Tanya? And thank you for coming online.
I'm doing great. Thank you, Jane, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Before we begin, I would like to introduce Tanya and a bit of information about her. Tanya Pikula has been the Director of Communications at Circle of Care, a not-for-profit home and community care provider since 2022. Previously, she has held communication leadership positions in the Ontario government and has a PhD in English literature from York University. Before we get started with Tanya, I would like to talk about loneliness, which is one of the top 3 concerns for older persons. According to Age UK, loneliness is one of the top 3 concerns of older adults. So this is some of the research from that finding. Attention to social isolation is as important as meeting functional needs. What might appear insignificant to a care provider might be deeply significant to the service user. Their family, their personal dignity is affected profoundly by the ways in which members of staff behave towards older persons. Being lonely has a significant and lasting effect on blood pressure. It is also associated with depression and higher rates of mortality. Influence of social relationships comparable with smoking and alcohol consumption, and to exceed the influence of physical activity and obesity. So I have a couple of questions for you, Tanya, today. Can you explain a little bit about this interactive, wonderful phone discussion program that Circle of Care provides to the community, and why you think this is beneficial to individuals who are isolated and lonely, and maybe a little bit of information about where this first started would be helpful for our listeners. Thank you.
Of course. So we got a grant basically from an organization called Senior Centers Without Walls. And they're based in Vancouver, and they run many of these types of phone programs. They also run virtual Zoom programs and various other ones. But we previously didn't have a phone-based program, and they gave us a fund to do that, to run it 3 times a week. And the program is really designed to connect older adults with other people in their community who are more comfortable using a telephone than other devices to connect. Many older adults may not have the electronic devices that would allow them to connect through Zoom. They might not have a smartphone, they might not have a laptop or a tablet, but everybody's pretty much comfortable with using a phone. And there are other older adults who want to connect, but they may not be comfortable with appearing on video. So again, a phone is a means to connect that makes them feel a little bit more comfortable. So really, it is that demographic and that type of user that we are targeting with this program. It's enough for them to engage through a device from a comfort of their own home. And that's especially good in winter when people are less likely to go out due to extreme weather events, to mobility issues, chances of slips, and so on. So it's a program that runs 3 times a week. Usually there's about 6 to 10 participants. There is a facilitator who is from Circle of Care and who initiates many of the activities. It's about 45 minutes long, and usually it would be an activity that would be at the center. Let's say it's a piece of music that everybody listens to, and then there is a discussion that happens around it. Another one might be a brain teaser activity where there might be various topics related to, for example, literature or science or history and math. And it's very popular among folks. And then they spend the rest of the session kind of talking about that topic and engaging with these brain teasers. Um, and the facilitators really there to make sure that they galvanize the participants and get the conversation going and so on. So the program is the latest addition to a slew of social programs that we have, some of which are in person, some of which are over Zoom.
No, it's a terrific program, and I think that's what was, definitely lacking in Toronto, and also the rural areas. I think I know Circle of Care can't manage those areas, but it would be nice if another organization, in the rural areas of Ontario would also pick that up because a lot of people can't get out of their homes or they don't have the money to have internet service or a tablet or a computer. So picking up the phone the old fashioned way and having a conversation like we did in the years before is a great way for people to still, connect. Uh, and so I know Circle of Care runs on a catchment area. And does the individual who is signing up for this program need to be a member of Circle of Care? And what, is this open to all people in Toronto or just in a certain area?
It's open to anyone over 55 years old who lives in the GTA. So any area of the GTA. Yes, they do have to be a Circle of Care member, but when they contact us, it's fairly easy to onboard. And especially if they're kind of just participating in this program, obviously, it's a free of charge program. It's a free of charge onboarding. And then they would get updates from us about the various events that we have going on, and they're free to attend this program 3 times a week if they want to, 1 time a week, 1 time a month, whatever basically suits them. But yes, it's available to folks in the GTA.
Oh, it's terrific. And I mean, over COVID, a lot of organizations had to move very quickly to keep those people socially engaged. So, again, with Circle of Care, with Luma Care, with, North York Senior Center, all these community agencies had to get things online to keep their customers and community, engaged, which was extremely important at that time. And it's nice to see it carrying on because before, when we were doing all these events in person, not everybody, in fact, those people that were at home that couldn't get out, those were the people that actually needed to know about the support services, needed to know about home care and the social programs to connect. So thank you to Circle of Care, in organizing this. Tanya, if you can let the listeners know how they can connect with you. So if you could give the telephone number and website.
Yeah, of course. So they can certainly take a look at the general website for Circle of Care where they can find out about, our history, our organization, about all of the various programs that we have at www.circleofcare.com. And for this specific program, if they are interested in it, they should call Devora at 437-339 6433. I'll just repeat that again for folks. Devora at 437-339-6433.
Thank you for that. And Tanya, can you sort of talk a little bit, why you think it's important to keep individuals connected and socialized in our communities?
As you said at the beginning of the podcast, there are many studies that time and time again show that one of the key determinants of well-being and longevity are social connections. It's incredibly important to have the opportunity to stay engaged with other people, whether that is in person or whether that's over the phone or virtually. because this just has a positive effect on mental well-being, physical health, and just a greater sense of fulfillment in life. And we know that older adults are often, isolated or lonely, and that this was especially exacerbated by the pandemic.
Yes,
And
most
we're
definitely.
still feeling the effects. Even people who are not elderly are feeling the effects, and people who are elderly, especially so, because many of them are reluctant to re-engage socially
Yeah.
in the way they previously were. And as our population ages, it's, I think, incredibly important we build a very robust system of programs that encourage and that enable social interactions for older adults. It's a way of countering what I would call an epidemic of loneliness.
Hmm.
And it's a way of improving people's lives and also, improving general health outcomes for our society.
Yes, most definitely. I do know, especially since the winter time has come. I mean, Mosaic does a lot of things online, memory friendly programs online, but we still continue to do some of our social events. So, yes, you see, starting back in January after the holidays, it's decreased in people attending. Could be too cold, obviously too icy. People are afraid to drive their cars in case they get into accidents or falls. So, again, these type of programs that are being offered by many of the community agencies are definitely helpful for individuals. And I would also, if you could go through some of the other services I think that Circle of Care provides, and also talk about the iRide program and how does that work within Toronto?
Of course. So we have a range of programs, and really, in their totality, they're designed to help people stay in their homes and age in place if that's what they want to do. And they consist of a home care program, which is providing people with personal care support and homemaking support in their homes. And then the other arm of it is community care programs, community support programs, which is a range of programs that are about, delivering meals to your door. That's a Meals on Wheels program. The specialized transportation program, which I'll talk a little bit
Yep.
about more in a moment, that's designed for seniors. There is an adult day program that exists in the community that is a place where people who are frail and elderly or people who have various forms of dementia or are living with various forms of dementia can come to spend the day. There are numerous exercise, virtual and in-person exercise programs, numerous social programs that help people re-engage with their community. There is hospice and bereavement programs that we also have, and various counseling programs that we have for both caregivers and clients themselves. So it's really very kind of a wraparound, holistic approach. Um, I will say that iRide is definitely one of our bigger programs, and it consists of a fleet of vehicles and a fleet of very experienced and specially trained drivers who are there to really work with that older adult population who are trained to deal with people who have mobility issues, who might have frailty. And it's a program designed first and foremost to get people to medical appointments. So people can book very far in advance, something like a month in advance or so. And they can book for a ride to come pick them up door to door from there to the hospital, for example, where they have a medical appointment, and then to drive them back. That is prioritized and it's more affordable than, let's say, an Uber or,
Or a
a
taxi.
general.
Yep. Yeah.
Exactly. But they can also use it for social functions. But it is one of those services where you do book further in advance, and it is first and foremost about making sure that people are getting to their medical appointments.
And that is only in a catchment area. So we do know Circle of Care covers a catchment area. Then there's other local not-for-profit organizations that are also part of the iRide.
Yes, so it's a basically collaborative of various service providers in the GTA. We cover a certain region, but our partners cover other areas of the GTA, and we're sort of the lead organization, and we're all part of this bigger umbrella program that's called iRide Plus.
Yes, it's terrific,
Um,
though.
so whether people are interested in, getting service in North York or Southern York region or Etobicoke or wherever, they can call us or they can go on the iRide Plus website, and we will connect them with the one of our partners, even if it's not our catchment area. We'll make sure that they
Oh,
get
so
to the
that's
right.
good. Because I think
Yeah.
older person, they don't, they like almost like the one-stop shop or that organization providing resources as well. So not just saying, oh, we can't help you. It's just, older persons really appreciate that, one-on-one and I would say person-centered care to help that individual. And then I think I've worked with a lot of the social workers from Circle of Care, both in the community and also on several networks. And I must say that the social workers from Circle of Care are so compassionate, have so much empathy, and really listening, and they really connect with other organizations and are interested in finding out what else is happening, what else can they do to help their clients. So, I mean, hats off to Circle of Care staff. I think it's a great organization. So we're coming to the end of our show now, and I really appreciate you taking the time, Tanya, to come online. I know how busy you are. It's a busy organization, Circle of Care. And at this time, I usually ask our guests for a takeaway message that you would like to leave our listeners with.
Yeah, of course. So I will say that I started working in the home and community care sector only about, a year and a half ago in 2022. And I was, for the first time, getting myself acquainted with the workforce in this sector. And there are just so many people who are so incredibly passionate doing this work that is soul nourishing. And there really are a slew of programs run by this very passionate workforce that exist for, older adults in the GTA and that are usually free of charge, run by nonprofits such as ours. And it really is a very engaged kind of environment on both the side of the employees and the side of the clients. And people really enjoy the programs and they benefit from them, especially these programs that have to do with getting socially connected to your communities and getting to know new people. So, my message for people out there is, reach out to us. We are here. We're here to engage with you, to connect with you, to connect you with other folks. Whether you want to participate in our programs as a client, or if you want to perhaps volunteer, we have a slew of programs that are fueled by these passionate volunteers. It's a very vibrant network, and I think every new person that comes along and join us just makes it all the more vibrant.
No, it's terrific. And thank you. Could you just relay that contact information again for our listeners?
Yeah, so for this specific phone program, please have them call Deborah at 437-339-6433. They can also visit www.circleofcare.com for our general website where they can find out about all the various programs that we run, and they can book an appointment with our intake specialist. They can also call our general customer care number at 416-635-2860. I'll repeat that, 416-635-2860, where they can get connected to a person who can give them general information if they're more comfortable with the phone as opposed to using the website. And they can also help them book an appointment with an intake specialist if they're interested in joining Circle of Care and using any of our programs. If people are also interested in the iRide program, which we talked about before, and iRide Plus, they can contact Circle of Care if they're interested in services below Steeles, and they can contact Chats, which is providing north of Steeles as sort of the leader organization. The number is 1-844-474-3301. So that's 1-844-474-3301. And then they would pick whether they want to get services north of Steeles or get services south of Steeles, and they'll get connected to the right department.
Terrific, Tanya. So everybody has all the contact information, if you are interested in the wonderful programs. Thank you, Tanya, for coming online today. We really appreciated the conversation and resources. Until our next Mosaic's Life in Canada podcast, this is Jane Teasdale signing off from Mosaic Home Care, www.mosaichomecare.com.